The Georgia Senate race between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker has been decided, with Warnock defeating Walker in both the runoff and the general election as well. During his losing campaign, Herschel Walker railed endlessly against transgenders and at one point said, "Pronouns? What's pronouns?" Well, since you're so confused about gender pronouns, I'll use one in a sentence. Raphael Warnock just made you his bitch twice. And that's today's lesson in gender identity. Thank you. And welcome to the Melissa J Show. My name's Melissa J, and we are coming to you live from our studios here in scenic Los Angeles, California, where people treat their pets better than they treat their fellow human beings. I would make a joke here, but there's just nothing funny about what's going on in LA right now, so we're just going to keep it moving. And I'd like to introduce my little co-host right here. This is Melissa J. Jr., who is also the lead photographer here at the Melissa J. Show. And as you all know from the last episode, Melissa J. Jr. just became a mom, and she is doing great after giving birth to Nick Cannon's 12th child, who she named Melissa J. Jr. Jr. And after all the recent allegations of paying for abortions made against Herschel Walker during his Senate campaign, I think it's safe to say that Nick Cannon would have been a much better pro-life candidate than Herschel Walker. Starting out the show with some international news, violent protests have recently erupted in China in reaction to the country's strict COVID lockdown policies. And our own Melissa J. Jr. recently flew all the way out to China to give us a first-hand account of the situation. And according to her, the violence had nothing to do with COVID lockdowns, but instead it was just a bunch of excited fans who had just come from a Limp Bizkit concert. It's hard to tell the difference, we know. In sporting news, legendary Major League Baseball player Gaylord Perry recently passed away after an illustrious 22-year career in which he had many accomplishments, including being a 5-time All-Star and a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, as well as having the distinct honor of having the most hilarious name ever given to a straight man, Gaylord Perry. In political news, Nancy Pelosi announced that she will be stepping down from her leadership role as Speaker of the House of Representatives. During her time as Speaker, Pelosi was the subject of numerous conspiracy theories put forth by the anti-transgender group known as QAnon. And among those theories was the idea that Pelosi was somehow secretly running the entire world. And let me just say that is not true. Nancy Pelosi is just one politician representing one district in California. And according to QAnon, she couldn't even run the House of Representatives properly. So hopefully those very false theories about her secretly running the entire world can finally be put to rest. In other political news, after winning re-election, Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer announced she is possibly considering a run for president in the 2024 election. And now that I'm looking at her picture in the monitor, it's occurring to me that she looks a lot like Nancy Pelosi in a Halloween costume. Which would mean that Nancy Pelosi would secretly be running for president in the 2024 election. All right, we're just going to move along to the next story. In other gubernatorial news, New York's Governor Kathy Hochul recently held a press conference where she outlined the steps that New York will be taking to fight the triple-demic of COVID, the flu, and RSV. And now that I'm looking at her picture in the monitor, it's occurring to me that she also looks a lot like Nancy Pelosi in a Halloween costume. No, I am not feeding into conspiracy theories. QAnon is wrong. Nancy Pelosi is not secretly running the entire world. None of that is true. So we're just going to move on to the next story. In celebrity news, the rapper and businessman known as Jay-Z recently responded to comments made by Kanye West. Oh my God! QAnon is right about everything. Nancy Pelosi is secretly running the entire world. So from now on, I'm going to have to change my name from Melissa J to Melissa Q. This is my co-host, Melissa Q Jr. And in true QAnon fashion, I'm going to have to start vilifying transgenders. Thankfully, I identify as a female, so technically I'm not a transgender, and that won't be a problem for me. So let me close out the show by quoting Herschel Walker and saying, "Pronouns? What's pronouns?" And before we get out of here, this is our last show of 2022, so we would like to say thank you to everyone watching right now. Whether this is your first episode or if you've seen every one, we can't tell you how much we appreciate your time, and we make it the focus of our entire lives to make sure that your time here is well spent. We've got a lot of big plans for the upcoming year. Some of my friends from stand-up comedy will be playing reporters in the field, covering actual stories. Melissa J. Jr. will be a single mom. And as always, we will have plenty to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene. We've got a lot to look forward to. So on behalf of Melissa J. Jr. and I, from the bottom of our hearts, happy holidays. Please stay tuned, and we'll see everybody next year.